is now Ringo TV. Ringo TV. Ringo TV.
Welcome to another edition of Black Male Advice TV. I'm your host, Ringo. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe, and support the content.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Black Male Advice TV. I'm your host, Ringo, and we are back again with another video lesson. On the subject of polygyny, we're going to be talking about how is time divided for each wife under polygyny. How is time divided for each wife under polygyny? Okay. Under polygyny, I get a lot of questions of people, mainly women, because they're the only ones who have these concerns. They always wanting to know, how is time divided? In other words, if I'm going to be in a union where there is more than one wife, how do I have the confidence of knowing when I'm going to be able to spend time with this man? Because they want to spend time. First thing first is, ladies, you need to get your priorities straight. Being in a polygynous union is not about you controlling a man's time. One of the biggest mistakes you ladies make in the beginning stages is you're selfish. You're only thinking about having this man's time, not realizing that a man's time is very limited. Men are supposed to be working. Men are supposed to be building. Men are supposed to be doing a lot of things creatively that requires all their time. So really, their time is limited. When it comes to a polygynous union, you have to understand that this man's time is very precious. You being there is being a helpmate to that man. And a lot of times when we think about polygyny, women become very jealous and they become very selfish because they want to occupy all this man's time, as if though being in a polygynous union means that a man is going to be laying up in bed somewhere all day long. Men have to make money. Men are about building. Men are about creativity. Me, I'm a music producer. I do videos. I do all these different things. That's a lot of time. So I'm not in bed all day. I'm not up and down some woman's skirt all day. Now, it's cool to have your wives. It's cool to be intimate with your wives. It's cool to have love and companionship. But at the end of the day, as men, we have a lot of things on our plate that we got to do. So when women come into a polygynous union, you have to have the mindset of understanding that your time with this man is going to pretty much be based on his schedule in terms of what he's doing. Because under monogamy, people don't even spend no time. In monogamous relationships, men don't even spend that much time with their woman. It could be many different things that stop in different issues. It could be a job. A man could be working 8 to 14 hours a day. And by the time he come home, he's tired. She's tired. She's dealing with the kids. They really don't even have no time to be around each other. They have to literally create time to be near one another. That's just real talk. So a lot of times when people come into polygynous unions, they come in there with this misconception that you're gonna be in bed all day, having hot sex all night long, when that's not really the case. You're not gonna be doing that stuff all day. So when it comes to having time or dividing time, there's many different things you can do. You can have schedules, which I don't really like, because schedules can be broken because things come up. Sometimes you may be busy. Sometimes you got other things to do. A man's time is very limited. So when it comes to dividing time, It can't be this thing where you're focusing on yourself. It gotta be about being spontaneous. In other words, if for whatever reason the day starts off where the man is pretty much around you, then he pretty much chose who he want to be around that day. He already chose what he want to do that day based on what he's doing. But if you're trying to grab him and wife number 2 trying to grab him and she's trying to grab him and y'all all fighting over him, this is not polygyny, because all of y'all are focusing on one thing only, and that's pretty much taking away this brother's time. That's what you're basically doing right there. And I get this question all the time from women. If I was in a polygynous union, how would I be able to have time? I want to be able to have this man with me all day. I want to be able to have him in my bed all day. That's what women say all the time when we talk about polygynous topics. I hear this all the time. Women want to know if the man is going to be around them all day. And my thing to you sisters is this. When you're in a union with a man, he's not going to just be there with you all day wasting time when he got money to make. What I'm doing right now, I'm focusing on business. I'm providing content. I'm focusing on making money. I'm focusing on building. I am not focusing on being in bed all day with a woman somewhere. Men that talk that type of talk are normally broke, and they're not really focusing on making money. When you're really about your business, when you're really about focusing on your time and your activity, you don't really have time to be up and down some woman's skirt all day. Again, it's cool to be intimate with your wives. It's cool to have that particular time. But that particular time is not all damn day. You know what I mean? So when it really comes to dividing time, we have to focus on what kind of time we're talking about. If we're talking about being intimate in terms of having sex, that's pretty easy. You know what I'm saying? If you want to have sex, you can schedule that. If you want to have anything, you can schedule that. But then again, like I said, scheduling something is one thing. Being spontaneous is another. And when the wives understand how each wife is, and when the wives are actually communicating with one another, it's very apparent on when it comes to dividing time, because the wives are communicating with each other. So if the wives are communicating with each other, then pretty much they already done know the deal in terms of who's going to spend time with him today, tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. But always understand that this is a union. This is a relationship. So it's not about being competitive. It's not about competing. It's not about jealousy. It's about building. You understand? Number one, this man is not going to be in bed all day having sex all day. That's not going to happen. We got to first of all look at his schedule. Not your schedule, his schedule. What kind of job he got? What kind of occupation he's into? What kind of productive work he's doing? Because once you understand this, you'll know where to implement the time that you and him need to come together. All of that got to be planned. Are there children involved? If you have children, you got to have the children in order. The children got to be in line, which means if you know you're going to be intimate, if you know you're going to spend time, then we need to make sure that the children are pretty much out of the way. All of these things have to be taken care of. But again, you cannot be selfish. You cannot come into a polygynous union wanting to take a brother's time and yet he's not being productive, because now we create another problem. It's one thing to be in a union and desire that time. It's another thing of making that time worthwhile. We're not here to waste time. Men are not in polygynous unions just to waste time, to be in your presence, just to waste their time. If our time together is not meaningful, we're wasting time. So understand that time is limited. In any relationship, time is limited. Even in monogamy, time is limited. How many people at the sound of my voice that when you are in a monogamous relationship, it's very difficult for even you and your significant other to even find time to spend with each other, time to watch a movie, time to have dinner, time to have sex, time to do this and do that. You have to literally make that time. You have to literally schedule the things that you're trying to do. So it's very important that you don't come into a polygynous union trying to control the man's time. His time is the first thing and utmost of importance. He is the builder. He is the man. He is the one being productive. He is the one being creative. So that time is very limited. So if you're a wife under polygyny, you know, number one, if you have a busy man. If you have a busy man, you got to be cooperative. You have to be patient and you have to work with him. You as a wife are supposed to automatically be busy doing your wifely duties. So being in bed all day with this man is not your normal duty all damn day. That's not going to happen. So I find that women that tend to be more focused on spending time with this man actually want the man to be under monogamy. She don't want him to be polygynous. She want to control all his time. And that right there is going to be a no-no. Because if you have a man that travels a lot, a man that's very successful, a man that is a superstar, a man that's an actor, he's on the road. So if you're focusing on time, you're never going to have a good marriage. You're never going to have a good union because you're focusing on taking this brother's time when he's out there providing a life for you and the family. And I think that as women, you have to be very reasonable and you have to be very cooperative. This is why I teach on polygyny when I talk about cooperation is one of the things women are supposed to bring to the table. There are 3 things you bring to the table in polygyny as a woman: sex, cooking, cooperation. Those 3 things are the only things men are interested in. Anything else is just an addition. We're not really focused on it. We focus on those 3 things. So as a woman, when it comes to dividing time or time divided in relationships in polygyny, there are several ways you can do this. You and the man can pretty much deal with these particular issues in a group session in terms of talking about time spent in terms of sexual. Because remember, there's different forms of time. We can have time of us all going out together. We can have time of watching a movie. We can have time of doing things with the family as a whole. We can have time where it's just intimate time between wife number 1 and the husband, or wife number 2 and the husband. All of those type of things we could talk about. Things usually should be spontaneous. It shouldn't be like a scheduling thing, because then now it's not really organic. It's more or less like, I know on tomorrow I'm going to spend time with you. And if you do things that way, it's sort of like, it's just not natural. Things are supposed to flow naturally. Just like in a monogamous relationship, when a man and a woman become intimate, it normally happened out of a spontaneous event where it just happened. That's a normal thing. For example, under a polygynous union, the husbandman could probably go take a shower. While he's in the shower, wife number 2, she's not waiting for a time to be intimate with him. She know that he's in the shower. So she pretty much is going to go do whatever she got to do because she know he's in the shower. She may even communicate to wife number 1 that I'm going to go mess around with hubby. And she goes over there to do her thing. And it is what it is. The other wife is like, well, do your thing, girl. It is what it is. And it's not about, oh, when I'm going to spend time with him and having him all alone. Listen, ladies, polygyny is not monogamy. Polygyny is not this thing where the guy just goes by you and he stays by you for a week and you don't have nothing to do with the other woman. We got to stop this selfish crap because that's not what polygyny is about. You and the wives have to work together. You and the wives have to be on the same page because as a man, I would not be happy in a situation where I got to deal with women that don't even want to see each other, with women that don't even agree with one another, because I'm not going to be happy. And if I'm not happy, none of you going to be happy because I'm not going to deal with none of y'all because y'all going to be on my last nerves because y'all making life miserable for yourselves and for me. You understand? You can't be so selfish in a polygynous union where you want to occupy all this man's time. That's not how it's going to go. You have to be very, very considerate of understanding that this man have to work. He have to work. He have to provide food. He have to pay the bills. He have to do a lot of different things. Now, as a woman in polygyny, we're going to talk about whether or not a woman should work or not in polygyny. But there are situations where women work. But at the end of the day, the man is the provider. And being that the man is the provider, he's constantly thinking about ways of making money. So under those circumstances, his time is very limited. So as a woman in polygyny, if you wanted to spend time with this particular man, if you wanted to spend time with him for the day, let's say for the day you wanted to spend time with him and it's a day where he's not really working, that's a different story. Those type of situations could be planned where on Thursday, I'm not going to really be working on nothing. Me and wife number 2, we're going to pretty much hang out together and spend the whole day together because wife number 1 is watching the kids and it is what it is. She's maintaining the house. She's maintaining the kids because she's making it free so that wife number 2 can pretty much do her thing with the husband and so forth. And on Friday or whatever the case is, wife number 1 have that opportunity to be with him while wife number 2 is minding the kids. This is how you can run a schedule. This is how you can do things. There's many different ways of how you can set this thing up because let's just be real. In monogamy, when it comes to you spending time with your man, you got to do the very same thing. You got to make sure that the kids are in order. You got to make sure the house is in order. You have to spend time with that man, even if you have to let your children be watched by a grandmother or whatever so that you and your man could get away, literally go to a hotel or do something together. These are the things you got to do. So even under monogamy, it's very difficult to even spend time with one another. So what makes you think under polygyny is going to be this thing where it's like, well, on this week I got him and on that week you got him? That's not how it works. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. It works based off of being spontaneous. Things will naturally flow where it needs to flow. And I think that women, they come into polygyny with these thoughts and these beliefs that it's about this man being pulled here and pulled there and pulled here. That's not, listen, I don't want to be in that mess because all I'm focusing on is getting work done. Having wives is to have help. Women that are supportive, women that are there to encourage, women that are there to make sure the house is running right. That's what polygyny is about. It's about building the nation. It's about being prosperous and doing what we need to do. All those other things that you sisters are worried about in terms of time will sort themselves out as you go. You got to learn how to let things flow so that things can fall into its proper place, because you're never going to know what it's like until you're actually in it. You're never going to know what you really need until you're actually in it. And I find that a lot of times women come into polygyny very selfish. They come in there only focused on what they want, and they don't realize what this man needs. You have to focus on what the man needs. What are his needs? What is he requiring of you? What do he want from you? You understand? Once you find out what he wants from you, now you can begin to balance out your role in terms of your wifely duties, taking care of the house, cooking, cleaning, dealing with the children, and then intimacy. I find that a lot of you sisters, the only thing you seem to be focused on when it comes to polygyny is when are you going to spend time with the man so that y'all could be intimate? And I think that you're very extremely selfish. I never hear women talking about under polygyny, when are they going to focus on washing some dishes, sweeping the floor, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, cleaning the bathroom. I don't hear women talking about that. They only want to focus on time spent with the man as if though polygyny is all about a man having sex all day. That's not what polygyny is about. Under polygyny, men are building. They're being creative, and they want to know that they have wives that are working with them towards the goal. You sisters are all out of order when it comes to polygyny, and this is why your monogamous relationships don't work, because even under monogamy, you're not supporting the man. You're not focused on your job. You're not focused on taking care of the house. You're not focused on cooking, cleaning, maintaining the kids. You're not doing a damn thing. And this is why these brothers are frustrated. And this is why polygynous unions is the way to go, because under this union of polygyny, we're able to build an empire. But because women come into it selfishly, only thinking about time they can spend with the man, things are not flourishing. As women, you must come into polygyny with the mindset of wanting to aid and assist the man. You're not to come into the union focused on yourself and what you want to do with him. You'll have your time to spend with the man. You'll have your time, but you gotta let things fall in place. This is something you've never done before. This is something you're new to. So you can't come into it expecting that this man is gonna be in your bed all day long. Nobody got time for that. Intimacy is one thing. Spending time together is one thing. But a man is not gonna be doing that all day. Even in monogamy, men don't do that. Men are not in bed with their wife all day. It's not happening. They're being productive. They're working towards a goal. And their woman must understand that. If I'm a brother and I'm in the military and I got to go overseas, I'm not in bed with you all day. We're not even spending time. You're going to have to work with me on how we're going to do this thing. If I'm a movie actor and I got to travel, you got to work with me. If I'm a musician, an artist, a singer, and I got to do shows all over the world, you got to work with me. And if you're not willing to do that, the relationship is not going to work, because all you want to do is have me in your presence all day. And that is not what a relationship is about. There's a time and a season for every single thing under the sun in a relationship. So knowing this is half the battle. Knowing this will give you the peace of mind of recognizing that in time, everything will sort itself. You know what I mean? What if a man have 3 wives? How did he sort all the time out with all his different wives? How did each of his wives able to deal with him on an intimate level? Why is it that you only focus on the intimate and you don't focus on all the domestic duties of a wife? Why is that? Because you come into the polygynous union with a selfish spirit. You should be coming in there with the mindset of doing your due diligence on your job. What are your duties as a wife? Raising children, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the house. Are all those things done? Have you done all your chores? Have you done all your errands? Before any of the wives are talking about intimacy with this man, have you done all of your duties as a wife? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the duties of a wife. Let's talk about your responsibility to your man. What are you doing? Are you only thinking that you're there just to open your legs all day? Because if that's the case, we don't really need you. You're not much of a help if all I'm doing is just having sex with you all day, but you're not cooking, you're not cleaning, you're not making things better, you're not learning how to use software, you're not learning how to use the computer, you're not behind the cameras, you're not even active as a wife. You're a burden to me at this point because you're draining my energy. You know what I'm saying? You're not being taken on as a wife to be a sex slave. That's not what we're here for. That's not what you're there for. You're there to be a wife so that you can learn your duties as a wife. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. Which means as a woman under polygyny, you have a job to do. You have a role. So you must fulfill that role. And as you do that, intimacy and that time will come. That comes naturally. That should never be something that you have to schedule, even though at times it may be necessary to schedule time together. But in a relationship, it should be that we are all flowing. All the wives are doing their job. The man is doing his job. And for whatever reason, one of the wives came up to the husband and they're there and he's holding on his wife and he hugs her and he looks at her. And all of a sudden, because he looked at her, they know what it is because they just looked at each other. The connection was there, the passion was there, and all the other wives know based on how she's connecting with him right now, they're gonna spend time together in a moment, or they're thinking about it. And at that moment, things happen naturally. So it's not about me saying, okay, on Wednesday you got me, on Friday she got me. Come on, that's not what we're gonna do here. That's not what we're gonna do here. That's not life, that's not living abundantly. We gotta do things normal, natural, and spontaneous. That's the best way things need to be done, in an organic fashion where the couple or the union of polygyny is being flowed and done in a prosperous, proper way. And I believe that that's the best course of action, so that if you're together as a family unit, the wives are cooking dinner and they're all in the kitchen, it's a beautiful thing. Husband come in there and he's happy and he's looking at his wives. The wives know what the deal is. The wives know what is going to happen. The wives should know who the husband want tonight. The wives supposed to know this. The wives are supposed to know how to take a break. I mean, every single night, you're not going to be with this man. Because even in monogamy, you ladies know good and well, you were not with your man every single night having sex all night. You were not doing that. Certain nights you were tired. Certain nights you just didn't want to do nothing. Certain nights you were like, look, I just want to be alone. I just want to unwind. Well, that's why a man have more than one wife. So that when you're tired, when you're not in a mood, wife number 2 can come in and do what she need to do. So don't be so desperate and so thirsty and so controlling to the point where you want a man's entire time focused on you. We have to focus on the business of polygyny in terms of building the nation, prospering, learning how to start businesses. Intimacy will always be there. We are going to be intimate. Ain't no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, let's focus on the priorities of the relationship so that we don't miss out on the benefits of where we're going. We have a destination to meet. We have to go where we have to go. So let's not come into polygyny with a selfish mindset of thinking that we have to make sure that we divide all the time equally. In other words, she got me Monday, you got me Tuesday, she got me Thursday, that woman got me Friday. No, that's not how we're going to do things here. Well, I can have a week with you, she can have a week with you. So hold up. Week with you, so hold up. She's going to be over there alone and not see me. That's what you're saying. So that while I'm with you, I don't get to see her, right? That's what you're saying? No, I have a responsibility to all my wives, which means that even if me and you were intimate today, I still got to see my other wife to make sure that she good. I still got to see my children to make sure that they good. It ain't like I'm with you and I'm away from the whole family and nobody's seeing me. That don't even make no sense. That's not polygyny. You know what I mean? That's like in a household under monogamy, or in a household where there is one man and one woman and children. The children see the father every single day as he walk up and down that house. That's the way it's supposed to be in polygyny. A man is supposed to see his wives walk up and down the house. So even if I'm intimate with wife number 2, I'm going to be walking up and down that house. Everybody's going to be able to see who I am because I got to protect the household and I got to make sure that the family is safe. That's my duty as a man. So under polygyny, it's not about dividing time where I go to your house and you over there and I stay with you for a week and my family is over there unprotected. That's not how we do business. That's not polygyny. You understand? That's madness. There's no order in that, because now when I leave from you and I go over there and you're home alone and you're by yourself, who's protecting you? Who's over there? Who's guiding you? Nobody. You're there alone. And now you're vulnerable and susceptible to all the danger that can come towards you. So as a man, we got to be responsible when it comes to polygyny. We have to know how to properly deal with our wives accordingly. And we have to make sure that we love them. So when it comes to dividing time, I don't believe that you divide time in terms of today you got me, tomorrow you got me, tomorrow's your day, Tuesday's your day. No, that's not how we do things. Everything is supposed to be spontaneously done. If the man is the husband in the house and his wives are there, the wives, because the wives communicate, they know how to set things up the way things need to be set up, because women can feel the energy of other women. So if I'm in the kitchen and wife number 1 is there and the wives can see clearly that I'm next to wife number 2 and I'm there talking with her and whatnot, and she's walking around the way and I'm holding her hand or whatever the case is, they already done know what it is. They could clearly see that I'm literally focused on her at the moment. So even though I'm with the others saying hi and greeting them and we're smiling and having and enjoying each other's company, at the end of the day, they could clearly see that for whatever reason, me and wife number 2 is somehow gaining some sort of chemistry while we're there in the kitchen. So at the end of the day, if me and her were intimate during that day, it ain't like the others are like, oh, I'm jealous. I want his time and she's spending all his time with her and I just can't deal with this. See, if that's your mentality, you're not ready for no polygynous union, because you're not there to build. You're there to focus on trying to keep the man for yourself. And we're not going to have that, because as men, again, we're focused on building. We're focused on being creative. Listen, when I'm working on a song back there, when I'm working on my main studio setup right here, and I'm focused on building a song, I'm not focused on sex. I'm focused on getting this beat done. I'm focused on getting this work done. When I'm focused on doing these videos, I'm not focused on no damn sex. I'm focused on getting this work done. A lot of times you women think that men are just sitting around thinking about having sex all damn day. If I do that, I'm gonna be broke. If I do that, I'm not gonna have no money. If I do that, how am I gonna take care of my children? How am I gonna take care of my wives if all I'm doing is focusing on sex all day? So it's not all about sex. Relationships is not built off of sex alone. You got all different facets that come together in the union of polygyny. Sex is included, companionship is included, time spent with each other, conversation, education, all these different things come together. Spending time, movie time, going out, spending time with the kids, doing creative things, having fun, playing cards games, playing Monopoly, playing Connect 4, whatever you want to do. All of these things can be implemented together in order for the family to pretty much come together. But we got to begin to take baby steps towards these goals. We got to begin to look at this thing as a business. We got to look at this thing not from a selfish mindset. We have to look at this and say, you know what? I understand that my husband is a busy man. He's a creative man. He's a genius. He's the type of guy that is very productive. So his time with me, I know it's not going to be all day. So I'm going to make the best of all the moments of me seeing him and being around him in this house. Because remember, intimacy or being sexually intimate with someone doesn't start when you enter the bedroom. It starts when you're just walking up and down the house. It starts with foreplay. It starts with all that time of you being in the kitchen cooking breakfast, and I come in there and I see you and I'm like, hey, here's my beautiful wife, and I'm giving you a hug, and all of that stuff is there, and we're feeling on each other and we're just enjoying each other's company. All of that builds up the chemistry. All of that builds up the fire. So by the time we get intimate, that moment that we share is very pleasant. And it didn't take all day to do that, because all throughout the day we've been practicing foreplay. So by the time we got to the session, it didn't take 24 hours of having sex. It just took about 2 to 3 hours of us being intimate together with each other. And once we finish, we go back to the business of dealing with the family. So I don't really see why would women be so focused on the time spent with this man as if though you're going to be there with him all day. You know how much work I got to do as a man? Do you know how many responsibilities I have? How much creative things I got to do? There's so much that I got to do. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, damn, yo, I don't even have no time. This is crazy. But I still got to make time for everything else that I do, even with all my creative, responsibilities. So I hope that this video pretty much encouraged you. I hope that it given you some sense of understanding that in relationships, being intimate in terms of the wives having a special moment or time with the husband is literally based on a spontaneous act of us connecting with each other. That moment will come naturally. It is not something you plan out. It happens naturally. Just like in a regular relationship, things happen naturally. There are times when you have to make a schedule. There is times when you will say, well, later on tonight, we're going to hook up or whatever the case is and have a great night. You could do that in polygyny, but all the other wives must be on the same page in terms of communication. So it's not about on Tuesday, that's your day and no one else could have that day. No, because we don't know what tomorrow may bring. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we cannot be making all these different days of, well, dividing time and no. Because I have to be the husbandman of the whole house, which means I got to see everybody at all times. That's just the way things got to be. You understand? So if I'm going to be with her, then we have to communicate that. Meaning that if I'm going to be with her, I'm going to let her know that tonight me and you going to be with each other at such and such and such, but we're going to make sure that the family is good and everything is going good. And being that we doing that, everybody has been communicated that I'm going to be with her. And it's just that simple. It ain't no, oh, she's taking up all the time. I'm jealous. Oh, I want to spend time with you. You spending all the time with him. There's none of that going on here, man. We don't got time for all of that type of bickering and foolishness, because that's not polygyny. That's a bunch of jealous women that want to hog this brother's time up. And I'm not about to be broke sitting with a bunch of women with bellies and I don't got no money in my pocket. That's not what I'm focused on. When I'm here, what I'm doing right now, I'm focusing on making money. I'm focusing on being creative. I am not sitting around playing games. You understand me? This whole setup right here is not set up so I can play games. This is what you call a creative room. This is what this is. And this is just the basic. This is just the beginning. I'm not just gonna be here doing this one thing. My plans and my goals is to expand, to have a way bigger studio with way more productive gear. I'm not playing games. So to all the sisters out there, I need for you to understand this. I need for you to be cooperative. That's why men require those 3 things: cooperation, cooked food, and sex. Cooperation is the number 1 thing you bring to a relationship as a woman. Cooperation is the number 1 thing you bring to the relationship as a woman. If there's no cooperation, we're not going to be successful as a polygynous couple. It's not going to be successful because we need cooperation. We need women to understand that we're busy men. We need for y'all to understand that. We're going to have our time to be intimate. We're going to have our time to be together. All of that stuff is cool. All that stuff is beautiful. But as ladies, we can't be selfish. You can't be selfish. You can't be focused on your own desires. You have to remember that this man needs your undivided attention when it comes to your patience. You have to be patient with him. You have to be cooperative. You have to have a good attitude. And you have to recognize that this is a polygynous union. There are other women involved. There's children involved. And we need to make sure that everybody is happy in this household. It's very, very important. So my hope is that you all are blessed by these videos. And that's all I'm going to say for today. This is Black Male Advice TV, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth, 100% raw and uncut. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
If you like our content, consider supporting via Cash App at $Ringo TV Raw. Become a patron on patreon.com for exclusive video content not shown on YouTube. You could also support through PayPal at paypal.me/Ringo TV Raw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of new content. Follow me on Instagram at Ringo TV Raw.
This is Black Male Advice TV, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth 100%